Hi, thank you very much for joining BIP Chat again, or maybe for your first time. So if it's your first time, let me explain what BIP Chat is all about. We'll talk for about 20 to 25 minutes with an expert. And today I'm talking to Sally Rule, who is a homologist. And we're going to talk about what a homologist is in a minute. First of all, let me explain why we do this. So Thomas and I run a community called BIP 100, which stands for Business is Personal 100. It's the title of my book, but it's also a very deep set of values and beliefs that Thomas and I have around business. The reason it's business is personal is because our personal life impacts our performance in our professional life, and our professional life can impact our performance in our business life. And today, I'm wanting to introduce you to an expert who might be able to help you in your personal life. So first of all, let me say that we all need people that are experts in their niche. I think when we try sometimes to do things ourselves, it costs us more time and therefore more money than we really should do. And one of the biggest areas in our lives that we have is the asset of our home. It's very personal to us, it's very emotional, and it is often the biggest asset we own financially. Yet when we actually go out to sell our home, sometimes we think that we're the expert, but of course we're not. And I have in front of you here Sally Rule, who has been doing this for 40 years for her private clients, helping them to get the most money and be the most speedy sale possible, and also to alleviate the stress around it for that homeowner. And I would imagine most of us that are listening to this show are homeowners, or know homeowners, know people that are going through the stress of selling a home. I always find it interesting. In America, we have a much more professional world around selling homes. We have real estate people. They are usually independent people who live and die by the success of their reputation of helping people sell homes. So hiring a homologist like Sally is might be new to you, but it's something that really is very critical for you to get the most value and the least stress out of selling your home. So Sally and I are going to be talking about this. Sally, you have been in this world for 40 years. You bring a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience. Can you just share a little bit top level about why this is a world that you love to work in?
Of course. Thank you, Penny, for your introduction. Yeah, I feel that homes are so important to us because they give us protection, warmth and security. And we don't buy our homes when we find the back of it from the back of our sofa with all the pennies that we collect. We don't buy a home with those pennies. We save for it, we invest in it. And I think it's very important to honour that when we sell our homes. And by honouring it, I mean looking after it, maintaining it, making sure it's clean. You will put your own style and design into it, but when you go to sell, we want to make sure that you honour your home by making sure the home is in the best position and structure and decoration and repair it can be.
Yeah, and I think that is really beautiful. And it's not really an expectation we should have of estate agents. I mean, they're really just in the advertising and matching game. So tell me a little bit more about what it means to be this homologist, what you do for your clients. And I think what we'll do is we'll step through, and I might interrupt you, the different process.
Okay.
So if we start now, so I'm selling a house. Okay. And I come across you, thank the Lord that I have found Sally. What is the first thing that we would do to start this relationship?
Thank you, Penny. Well, ideally, I'm going to come and visit you in your home, because once I'm in your home, I'll be able to feel the energy that you have, see your style, your decor, and how you live, because we all have our different lifestyles. I will walk through your home, sharing my observations of what I see and how I feel it can be best presented by highlighting the potential in your home. I imagine, and depending on how long you've been in your home, there will be some improvements that might be made. There may be some cracks or some tears in wallpaper or some cleaning that needs to be done. And so any and all improvements that I see, I can actually recommend trusted suppliers and contractors and professional people to help you.
Yeah, that's really lovely.
I've curated
a big network of those
yes.
people, don't you? Yeah, that would be fantastic.
I've curated Team Sally, which is an A to Z directory of people over the last 40 years. So we have all sorts of people from acupuncturists to Zen masters. So, it can help everybody in all life.
Through all the aspects of selling a home. That sounds really good to me. So people talk about staging a home, and I think you do styling. Yes. And it'd be interesting to talk about the difference of that, because I think you used a word, you talked about how it's quite important to realize that we all have our personal taste.
Yes.
Might not be neutral enough for the market. So can you take me through that a bit?
Sure. I love colour, as you can see, I'm in the pink today, but I wouldn't necessarily design and colour my house in pink necessarily, because that's very subjective and it's very personal to me. We all have our own style. My style may not be the same as your style, or maybe not be the same as a prospective applicant who's coming to view your home, Penny. So it is my intention that we are able to maximise your home with neutralising the decor so it appeals to all people and the widest audience we can, because the widest audience will mean more viewings and therefore more offers.
Yeah.
So your style is great, and please don't get me wrong, I love colour in the house. And with that said, to be able to neutralise that with neutral decor of cushions or throws, or making sure that there's some greenery, live green plants in the property, is really going to help change that balance of that immediate colour that people can see.
Yeah, I understand that. And is that I mean, I know that you're a very gentle communicator. It's I think one of your huge strengths is you've got massive empathy for people, Sally. Is that a really difficult conversation to have with people?
I don't find it too difficult, Penny. The reason why is because I'm not emotionally attached to the house.
All right.
I am detached. I'm impartial. I do this every single day. So for me, I very much are complimentary about your property, but ask of the question, do you want to sell your house? And if the answer is yes, and we both want to sell, and everybody in the house wants to sell their house, then the motivation is that there are some changes to be made. They won't have to be necessarily big or large, expensive changes, but some changes can be made to allow that difference so people can see it in a different viewpoint. We're transforming the thought that the buyer might have and their perceived view of the property.
Yeah, I get that. I absolutely get it. Makes me think that they might actually fall in love with their house again when you've done it.
So many times, including my parents, you know, 42 years of their house, cleared it out. And my dad said, well, it looks great now. Shall we stay? No.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, that is another project that I found really interesting learning about, which is a bit of a side conversation about helping people that are moving out of their homes into care homes. And yeah, but that maybe we'll see if we've got time for that, because I think that's such an interesting conversation to have around that level of empathy you have and that experience you have in that sort of world. So now we've gone through the process of neutralizing it, making it look a bit better. What happens after that then? We're now ready maybe to go onto market.
Not quite, Penny, because right. I like to make sure that you know everything about your house. So I encourage a pre-sale survey and a pre-sale assessment.
Right.
The reason being is that if you've been in your house a number of years, you don't know how it is settling, the structure of it. You're not an expert, you're not a structural engineer, you're not a surveyor. And so I like to be able to make sure that all the homeowners and the clients I deal with know exactly how their house is. And if there are any recommendations that have been noted by the surveyor, we can obtain quotes. I'm not necessarily suggesting we do anything unless something is falling down or broken and needs immediate attention. But it's about making sure that you've got all the information and you've got an informed report. I don't like surprises, and I don't want you as my client and the homeowner to have that situation whereby the purchaser has a surveyor and no two surveyors are the same, and their opinion could make the difference in obtaining their mortgage, and the amount of mortgage they're getting and what they feel about the property. So if we've got that already done and we've got all the information that can support and evidence, then we were in a much better and stronger position to price it and negotiate if we need to.
Yeah, I suppose it's a bit like having an MOT on your car before you put it up for market. And actually, I've got a girlfriend who was really excited about buying a home in Wiltshire, and the buyers were so excited to have her. And then the survey right at the very end, and she pulled out because it was a massive roof challenge. And yeah, so I can imagine that's just heartbreaking when that happens, because you're in a chain, possibly. You've already found the home you want to go to.
Absolutely. But also on that basis, think of all the cost investment that she's made so far to get to that point. It's time, it's emotional.
Yeah.
Yes, you're in that chain. You may have given notice on a property. You may, there's so many considerations that you could make and be caught out with at the end of that process. So I like to do it at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it might mean that some investment needs to be made, Penny, but then you have a choice. You can price it accordingly or do the work. So I believe that my role for anybody as the homologist is to share options with effective results so that you can make the right decision for you.
Yeah, no, I like the sound of that. I really can see the importance of that. And it's ethical, isn't it? It's it's
Absolutely.
maintaining the ethics of, whatever it is, you are selling something. And yeah, that seems the ethical approach as well, to maintain the trust all the way through. Yeah, I really like that. So now let's assume great survey, or maybe it needed to be done. What happens then?
Then I'm going to invite the local agents who are the right agents for your property. You might like the local agent that's in your street or village, but they might not be the right one for your house. And so I invite the 3 local agents who are going to be more suitable for your house. I sit in with you on their interview, ask the awkward question, because there's always questions to ask the agents. And then afterwards, when we receive their valuation and their market appraisals, have a discussion about who you as a homeowner like and feel affinity to, and the discussion of who is going to be best for your house. We do not want to be pricing high to sell low. We want to have it at a realistic price where we encourage a lot of viewings, and then perhaps the price will increase.
Yeah, I like that. That's so important. I suppose like any negotiation in life as well. If you have an expert in between you and you don't have that emotional feeling that, oh gosh, I should hire them. And we had this actually selling my father's house.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, where a wonderful man. And it was, my dad had kept in touch with him all the way, saying, I will be selling my house. I think they'd met at the golf club. Right. And there was just no doubt in my dad's mind that was who's going to sell it. And I never know to this day whether we really got the right price, but he just was so emotionally connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really, I understand that, because you spend all of your time in your home, and you, as I say, you invest in your decor and your furnishings and your fittings, and all the happy memories and everything that happens within those 4 walls. So when you have someone that you like and you may trust and you may believe that they're going to do the right thing for you, until you get comparisons, you'll never know.
No. So that is really good, because it just keeps you one step away. I mean, almost be bad cop, good cop.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, which is really fantastic. So is that where it ends then?
No.
Right.
So we've got the agent in. We've all decided that whoever is the right agent, the agent will send all their paperwork, which you need to conform and complete and return. We will go through a situation, and I'll go through from you from day one. I have a checklist of getting you ready with legals and paperwork and finances so that you're ready. Go through the house to make sure that everything's in the right place, it's clean, it's tidy, any repairs are made. And then the agent will organise their photographer to come. I will be there when the photographer comes, because if there are certain things that we need to remove for the photography and then to come back so that the photographer takes and captures the best image, then I'm that person. I'll be taking it out, then I will be replacing it for you. But it means that the photographer doesn't have to do it, and a lot of photographers won't have the time to do it. And I'm there as your ambassador to make sure that the photographer takes the best photographs they can that you presented. Then we approve those photographs, and then the sequence that the photographs are marketed online with the agent, because that's really important to be taken through your house as a story, as opposed to there's the marketing picture, and then we're outside, then we're inside, then we're upstairs, and we're downstairs. And I believe, as an audience, you want to look through the photographs as if you're traveling through the house, and the photographs relate to the floor plan.
So I'm just listening to this and thinking estate agents must really love you then.
Well, you would think they do. I have some great relationships with a lot of agents. But remember, Penny, I've also been an agent myself 40 years ago, before we had this wonderful thing called technology and the computer and the mobile phone. And I'm good at what I do, and I'm good at what they do. And so I don't want to be the estate agent. I came out of that 26 years ago when I set up my own business. So for me, the role that I bridge is between the homeowner and the agent, because when the homeowner follows the guidance, the agent is able to sell the house. So it's a win-win for both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can be both friend and foe to an estate agent.
Absolutely. And I work a lot with agents. I mean, when I've got homeowners and we've got them on board from right through getting you ready, getting property ready, getting ready to market, I will then invite the agents in, and they know that my client, you, the homeowner, is ready. You're motivated, you're ready. And so therefore, all they have to do is put it on the market.
Yeah, which is incredible. But then you won't let the estate agent pull the wool over your seller's eyes.
No. Any conversation that's had between the whole process, I'm on board with that too. And with saying that also, Penny, the agents who I'm going to bring in understand that if they price high, they're not going to sell the property. If it's styled, and you've asked about styled and stage, and I will come back to that, but if it's styled ready to be sold, they are going to have the right audience there, because they're going to price it in the right banding for right move banding. So it doesn't really hang around for very long. Yeah,
I can get that. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine how much they love you, but I can imagine how, if they're not a particularly ethical estate agent, they equally find it frustrating. But you're working on behalf of the seller, and
absolutely.
You know, and I mean, how many times in our lives would we sell a house? Maybe 4, maybe 5 times. I don't know. How can we possibly be experts? And the market's always changing as well.
Yes. And we can't control the economics of the world, unfortunately. No. What we can control is the presentation of our home. We can control who we decide and choose to instruct, and we can have a conversation about the price. The agent will have more information about the pricing than you and I will, because of the data that they have. However, we have to be realistic in a market of which changes every day at the moment, and we've got to listen to the government, but also remember that we've got to honour our house.
Yeah, and now, if I think 40 years in this market, I bet majority of people, both people in the home, are working. Both are incredibly busy.
Yes,
and I can imagine how much people just sort of almost have this as a side hustle, trying to sell their house, when it's such an important thing.
Yes, it does, and you're right. So many people are working from home, and they're experts in what they do. They do not move every single day of the year. So it's about saving them time, but also making sure that it's strategic enough for them. And with an agent that you bring on board, or I bring on board, or is chosen, is to have that support and understanding that maybe we can organise and have a campaign to have an open house day that doesn't mean everyone comes in whenever they like. It'll be a timed appointment with agents up and down the stairs and in and outside the gardens, so that everyone's around. But it does mean that there is focused and dedicated viewings, so that we clean up for one day.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got dogs or children or work, it's really important to be able to concentrate that. So that's always important. And then thereafter, ad hoc and random viewing can be.
And let's face it, I mean, not everybody really wants to sell their house. Sometimes they're forced to. And
Yes.
I remember sort of an experience like that back in 2007 for Thomas and I just could not be in the house when people were viewing. And I would have loved someone like you being there, because it was just too upsetting for me. But I wanted somebody who knew the house probably better than the estate agent would represent it. So, and a lot of people having to sell houses when they're emotionally really not wanting to, you know, they might be moving into a rental and losing,
Yes.
you know. So
when you think about all the 9 or so reasons that people do move, it is the most emotional and financial, biggest emotional and financial commitment you're going to make. So having some support or representation with me, for example, or another expert is really, really key. And the emotions can be contained in a way that wherever the reasons for you moving the property are going to be superseded by an excitement of moving into a new house or a new adventure or a new country, or just a change of scenery. Change of location, change of job, change of circumstances. Yes, they're not always going to be the happiest.
No.
And I've been that with my parents, and you have been with Thomas. But you're only a guardian of a house. You don't own the house. It's not yours to keep. And so I explain to people that you chose the house to come to for a particular reason.
Nice.
You've had your moment there in your life there, and all the memories that you've created and shared. And now it's time for someone else to make their memories there. And I'll come back to the beginning. I said this is about honoring the home that you have, that time you are having there. And that's why I think it's really important to
I can see
it in that way.
I can imagine a percentage of time is almost like being a therapist.
Very much so. I am a counsellor, the therapist. I have bigger shoulders, large ears, can talk and cry.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. I know my son Ross, I've got it framed because I'll never forget it. He wrote a beautiful poem for us called "A House Is Not a Home." And he wrote this poem. It was so emotional. I'll send it to you because it's so beautiful. And he just picked out all the different experiences that we had in all the different homes that we had moved around into when we had to go into rental before we were able to buy again, and quite the disruption. But he picked out all the different things that made each one a home. But we were so attached to the home that in 2007 we sold, and it was so that we could invest further into Academy as a business. And you're absolutely right about this. You have to see these things as transient things and realize your home will be wherever you are and wherever you create those memories. But having you there to I would have loved that. Oh my goodness, I can remember what a wreck I was.
It's as you rightly say, you know, you buy a house, you make a home. And this is what you're going to sell a house and then buy your next home. And you asked me the question about styling and staging.
Yes.
I'm sorry it's taken a long time to get to that.
No, that's okay.
There's a place for both. There are a lot of home stagers out there in the market, more than there ever used to be. And there is a place for them, especially, I believe, in vacant properties.
Right.
A lot of people who are looking to buy don't always have that vision, and sometimes you need to be led by that. It might not be their style, but good home stagers will know the market, know the agent, know the property, know which audience it's going to attract. I believe we have too much stuff in our homes. I tend to undress it than dress it, and I take stuff out. So I mean possessions and furniture. I believe that if we style it to attract the widest audience, there is a difference in the style and stage
Yeah, I get that now.
So,
I understand that.
that is why I explained that, and to be on site and to see what you actually have around you, because staging is generally bringing things into the property, whereas I may take things out for the photographs for then to replace with your lifestyle, but just to give people an idea of, because property is all about space, life, storage and flow. And that's all we want to,
I get that.
encourage when we're looking at photographs.
Yeah, so actually you've opened up my mind to just maybe to conclude this chat, is that I have heard that so many landlords are currently selling their properties.
Yes.
I know somebody who's selling 5 in Wandsworth, for example, because it's not necessarily great to be a landlord at the moment.
No.
And so I imagine working with people that have got properties that they're selling and making sure that those properties have a bit of style in them. It must be really important, because if they've been rented, they're probably not great.
No, you're absolutely right, Penny. I also do the same. So I buy for investors, make sure that they're all prepared, and then invite the right agent. And as you rightly say, a lot of my landlords have been, like you, a lot of my landlords have been selling. And so it's making sure with that pre-assessment, that pre-sale assessment, and making sure that the property is ready structurally, in decor, in maintenance and in presentation is key. We joke about the word key, but it is key in order to attract that next.
Yeah, that's really, really good point. So really, in conclusion, and thank you everybody if you've stayed listening to us and giving us this attention, get in touch with Sally. You can do that through us, but you may be a landlord, you may be a professional person that's property is your game, or you may be a homeowner. Get in touch with Sally, and you can find her on LinkedIn, Sally Rule, or you can contact us. And also she's on Facebook as well. Have you got your own Facebook page on Facebook?
I've got Facebook and Instagram as well as
LinkedIn. Yeah, all under the Sally Rule brand. Yeah, brilliant, fantastic. I absolutely love that. I tell you, really got my heart going quite a lot. It took me back to certain things. And if anybody that's listened to this knows anyone that's going through maybe a painful or an exciting house move, maybe introduce Sally to them as well. It'll take a lot of the stress out and optimize their price as well. Sally, thank you so much for your time. I absolutely loved that in-depth chat. You taught me so much. So that was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.